Okay, so eLearning, setting up the learning management system. Going to be pretty straightforward. There's lots of moving parts, but at the end it start to come together. So you're going to log in, and you can click up in the top end area and log in just using demo and demo, all lowercase. And then once you're in there, you're now the administrator. You have your administration bar up here, and most of the areas you're going to be spending here is the eLearning administration. And then today we're going to be doing the content, the best training, the bystander engagement to reduce sexual assault training. So in the eLearning platform, we have a concept called classes and courses, lessons, quizzes, and pretty much the concepts translate directly to a standard learning, whether it's university or college or high school. So essentially a course is kind of the base entity that we're going to be working from, but there also can be a collection of courses in a class. So for example, if we wanted to create, say, volunteer training, so we're going to create, we'll go up to eLearning and we can take a look at our administration here, our content. So we have class administration, course categories, managing our forms, so forms for people to discuss information related to the class. But we're going to keep this simple and just make it basically the standard training that you already do, molded to fit the online area. So essentially we'll go into and we're going to create our class administration and create a class. And this might seem redundant because we have to create a class called for best and then a course called best. But for example, the best was part of a volunteer training package. So the volunteer would be the class for volunteer training, and then a course in the volunteer training would be the best. But in this case, because there's no parent item, we're just going to use best and best. So we're just going to add a new class, and we'll just call this, oops, there it is. And then we're just going to copy that so we can use that later. And this can be, we can type in an introduction class. So this would be, again, if this was the highest level, this would be a volunteer training program, and then inside it would be the best. But we're just going to create best as the parent, and then the sub is going to be the best as well. So we can ignore most of these settings. We can assign a certificate for a class based on the number of courses that an individual has taken. We can set the courses here, but we'll be doing that afterwards. There's an expiration date. We don't need an expiration date. So group visibility, this is the one we need to concern ourselves. So we're going to make it so this is private, so that only people that we have added to the class, or for the course or the class, can actually take or attempt to take the course. If we made it public, that means anybody can do it, and then semi would be if they have to registered users, they can sign up for the class. So again, if you want public training, you can make it public. If you want it semi, like maybe your staff just be able to log in and take the course, then they can do that, and you give everybody a login information for this area, or private setup so the only administrators that have created the accounts can do it. And then we can ignore this. This is basic information for Drupal that we don't need to worry about. So we've saved that. So right off the bat, we've created our first class. Now inside our class, we're going to create a course. So we can go inside and we can set our courses. So here's our course order that we're going to do. Obviously we don't have any yet, so we're going to just go up to our eLearning administration content, and now we're going to add a course to our class. That makes sense. So we go course, and this will also be named the same. So remember, a class is a collection of courses. And then we can choose an image if we wanted to, so we can, make sure that people identify actually it could be like the page icon in this one. If we wanted to maybe save this as an image somehow, what we can do, since this is not actually an image, this is a PDF, what I'm going to do is just take a screenshot of this, and we'll use this as the icon, but you might want to create a nice one later. within your actual system. So we'll just use that as our base image. And we'll go to our desktop there, and I think it showed up here. So we'll just upload that. There we go. And so again, our group visibility. So again, this is going to be private because only people that we've allowed to enter it. Course categories, we're not going to worry about course categories at this point. It really is moot unless you have a giant university that you need different categories of courses. You could do that. And then course tools. At this point, we're just going to choose lessons. The other stuff, again, if we wanted to take a poll within the course, we wanted form discussions within the course, we could do that. Quiz imports, we don't need to worry about quiz imports because we don't have everything in a CSV format. Files to import, we don't need to do that. But lessons we can do. Now we can also choose other lessons that are required for the course validation. We don't need to worry about that right now. Certificate settings, so if they complete this one, they can get a certificate at the end of the day. And we're gonna set that up later as part of the training. So we'll click save, and there we go. So we've already created our class and our course within our class. And so now that we're inside there, we can start creating our lessons. And you can see here, add new lesson. So part of the first lesson, we're going to take a look at our part here. We can maybe put a table of contents if we wanted to as like an introductory thing, but I'm going to start with, maybe even this would be in the description of the class that we just typed in before to say the different modules. They'll be able to see and outline the actual full layout, and you'll see that in a minute. So let's just start with glossary. The sexual violence terms will be the first one. Okay, so we're going to give that a title, and then the information, the introduction to that. The lesson type, we're going to make it theory, and we've already chosen our course. You see it's already a part of that. And then we can choose a pass-fail. Now because this isn't a test, we don't need to worry about a pass-fail, but one of the options we can do is change this to 0. Doesn't matter if they pass or not. As long as they read it, the system checks if they clicked on the page to make sure they've read that information. If they haven't read it, they can't go to the next one. The availability options, we want to make it always available, or we can choose certain dates. Taking options, and again, there's a lot of settings in here, but essentially the default settings should be adequate for what we're trying to do. And then we want feedback end of this lesson when they complete the lesson. Since there's nothing here, it doesn't matter. This would mean after each the quiz. So these are applicable when we start doing the quiz portion. Allowed number of attempts, if they always want to go back and read, that's fine. And time limit, we're not going to set a time limit, and we're going to hit save. So right off the bat, we can do the glossary of terms here. Now within a lesson, we can do a slide. A slide can consist of an actual PDF slide, or we can actually do content. So in the content, we can put in the actual glossary of terms. So let's go down to our glossary of terms. And we can take all this information here. And we can copy it. And we can paste that information right in. And we can also do right there. Oops. Paste that in the space there. We can use the paste by. Oops, there we go. Okay, so we've got our our glossary of terms there. We could have done a slideshow if we had a slideshow, and then that might be if we export our slideshow to PDF from the Microsoft Office suite. You can do that there, and then it'll turn it into a slide. We'll show that in a minute there. We already chose the course group here, and then we don't need to worry about anything else. Then we can hit save. There we go. So we have our slides for this one, and it's already in there. Or sorry, our slides, it's actually a page. If we wanted to do a slide, we could go and say add another lesson to this piece here, and we can add a new lesson, and this could be slideshow. And then we can actually upload, go to theory, and we can actually take a look at the course, make sure that's saying that we don't need to worry about any of that. And then again, so we can add a slide to this. Now, when you're in PowerPoint, you can choose to export slides as one page, and that's what you want to choose if you've created a PowerPoint presentation with that. Let's just say these are just slides. And then we can go down here and we can choose our PDF. All I have for a PDF is your actual training manual, which is full 8.5 by 11, but you can understand how when you export it in proper slides, it'll be the perfect size for the layout for the page. Rather than an 8.5 by 11, but at least this gives you an idea of how to do it. There's an export function in PowerPoint. Export as slides or print as slides, I believe, is the option. It's been a while since I've used PowerPoint, but that's essentially the same. Or in Google Docs, their slideshow does the same thing too. So it'll take a little bit because it's a fairly large document to get up there. But once it's up there, we can save, and I'll show you what it would look like at the end. And again, we don't need to worry about this information at the bottom. This is some default information for Drupal. We can change the authoring info or whatever we need to, if need be. We can also give an intro to the text. While that's uploading, we'll just do it. Here are the slides. Watch them all. Yeah, it is a big file, so we'll wait till it gets all the way up there. There you go. So it's all the way up there. And let's hit save, and then we can see what that would actually look like. So if we go to the actual slideshow here, you can see, now this is 8.5 by 11, so it doesn't actually fit in the space here, but then people will then can have the full screen. They can go into full screen and be able to move through the slideshow, and again, making sure that our slides are nice, proper slideshow size. But it gives you an idea, so you can see how when people complete and they sign up for the course. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a quiz. Now a quiz, add a new lesson, and this will be our quiz. So let's just again, so we've done, say we did that, and then we'll do module 1 will be another lesson, module 2 will be yet another lesson, module 3, and you would do it the same way as the previous, like the glossary of terms. And then, so we'll scroll down to the bottom because I believe that's where the quiz is. Now, when you're doing an online quiz, you want to make sure that people can fill out the quiz online and get immediate feedback. The problem with some of these questions here, they're open-ended. That means that it requires somebody actually to mark the quiz before it's actually done. So you want to start converting these to multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, what have you. So for example, the first one here, you see define sexual assault. There's only really one answer, and the computer is essentially a dumb system. You have to tell them the exact answer. So you might want to convert this to say like multiple choice or fill in the blank. So we're just going to jump into consent is. That would be our question. So we're going to give it an administrative title. This is what it's going to be on the back end. So we're not going to give it a number because then we'll be able to reorder. Or sorry, this is the quiz. So this will be module 1 quiz. And then the introduction can be, let's take a look if there's an introduction here. No, I don't think there is. No introduction, but we can put maybe some instructions on how to complete the quiz. Lesson weight, we want to make sure that it is part of the final grade. It is a quiz for the group. It is for our best course. And then the results, so pass-fail option. So let's say we wanted people to at least achieve 50% of this, or if not, we can say 0%. And then summary, yay, yeah, you passed. You can also have other result comments, so you can say like, okay, well, if they got between, they got a low score, percentage 0 to end range, say 25%, you can say you suck, try again. Obviously, you want to probably put something a little more appropriate in there, but at least gives you an idea. And then you can add different levels, right? You can say, okay, well then if they also got between medium, they got between 25 and 50%. You can say just about there. Try again. Not bad, or whatever. So you can break it down, or you can just leave them all blank and just give a result at the end, which is fine. So let's go and let's just take a look at the pass-fail options. So we covered that. Availability options, we want to make sure it's always available. Taking options, allow them to resume. So if they stop the quiz, they can go back and finish the quiz. But if we wanted to do it all in one setting, we can turn that off. Skipping questions, if they can't think of the answer for question 2, they can come back to it later. We can leave that on there. Allow jumping if they want to jump to the end, or just skip all the way through. There's a lot of settings in here, and they give a nice description of what they are. Backwards navigation, make sure they do it until they get the actual correct answer. They can, whether or not they're actually doubtful, they can say, I don't know. A lot of this, or show past information. And then the questions on it, we can randomize the questions, or we can make sure that there's no randomization, or random questions actually show up or categorized. So I tend to leave it at no randomization, so they can make sure that you always know question 1 is question 1. You can tell feedback at the end when they complete the quiz, or after each question. I like to do it after each question so they know how they messed up, and then display what the actual solution is, or make sure force them to actually take it until they get the right solution. I like to display the solution, and then under here we can actually don't worry about assigning any actions, but a number of attempts. They're only allowed 1 attempt at the thing, or maybe they're allowed to take it until they actually pass it. That's fine. And then we can display the number of allowed attempts, which lets them know they can take it unlimited. And the results should be stored for each user. We can store all the results, or just their best results, or the latest results. And then we can also set a time limit. We can say, so this is in seconds per lesson. So we can set a time limit, but that's up to you. So lots and lots of settings. Very, very powerful system to be able to pull it off. But keep it simple right off the bat, and then we can go from there. So let's click Save. And then from there we can start, we have our ranges that are overlapping out. Of course, that was just for, just get rid of these because there's overlapping. Actually we can just do this. We can do 0 to 24. That's the only reason why it's overlapping, so we'll just save that. Jumping allowed, skipping allowed. Okay, like I said, lots of, what we're going to do then is just refresh this page and just start from the beginning. One quiz, there we go. And it's going to be a quiz. We have our course type, perfect. And then all these options, we can just change this. Maybe we just want this to be 50% instead. And then let's just save that. Okay, so then in here we can actually add existing questions that we've already created from, say, other tests, or we can add new questions. So we have all these different types. We have fill in the blank questions, long answer question, matching, multiple choice. Ignore scoring package because that's a very advanced thing that we don't need to worry about. Filed upload, like say they needed to upload, a certificate of they completed some other course from some other institution. I don't know why would we do that, or maybe they needed to upload some homework. Drag and drop questions with lines. You can play around with the different types of questions because there's so many different types. And then drag and drop scale questions. Whether or not you agree, strongly agree, not agree, true, false. Now again, a short answer question, long answer question, that requires somebody to actually go in and mark the question whether or not it's correct. I like to stay within the multiple choice, the true, false, and perhaps maybe a drag and drop question. So for this test, we're just going to add a question here. Remember, we're going to do consent is. So let's copy this, consent is, and we'll go with multiple choice question. So title, consent is, let's just get rid of some extra information. We don't want to number the information because we'll be able to drag and reorder the information. So the question is, so again, it's the same thing. Consent is, this is the actual question, and then here are our answers. So they can actually have multiple answers, but in this case, or random order, or simple scoring. We can leave these blank for now. We just want to make sure that our answers are always consistently shown the same, but you can play around with this a little bit more. And then our alternative answers, so let's take a look here. So not responding. And asking, do you like this? Oops. Will be the next one. And then the next one, well, you get the idea. C and D, you can put it in there, and then you choose which one is the correct answer. If you use multiple, which we can choose there, and then at the end we can hit save, and that's one question. And then now the next question could be create a new question. The next question might be, let's take a look, see if there's another one we can put in here. So again, here's multiple choice. Again, explanations, these are short answers. We want to convert this to multiple choice or true or false. Give 5 examples. So again, going through this course, it looks like there's a lot of conversion that needs to happen from your end to decide whether or not you're going to allow short answer and have to go back in as an administrator to mark their test before they actually get their certificate, which creates a lot of administrative overhead, or you can convert them to something that allows for true, false, multiple choice, fill in the blank. You get the idea. So let's take a look here. So again, you can choose all these different that you go. So, and then we can go back and we hit the home and we can see right off the bat. So here, when someone signs up for it, you can then go in and add the user to the user section here. And you can also, when you're adding members here, you can add the username and the role that they get. Actually, you know what, let's backtrack. I'm going to skip that. This is a long training video. But you can see right here with their scores, the group that they're in, there's our course image, the intro to the course, and when someone wants to start the course, they hit start right there. And then they can complete the information, and then once so let's say we've started the course here, and then we're reading the sexual assault. Now again, we need to format this a little bit better. But then we can hit finish, and then you can see that we completed the information here. And then the slideshow and the module quiz. Now we can go to the next lesson, which is the slideshow, and there we are at the slideshow, which we complete the slideshow, finish, and then we take our module quiz, and then we go here, and we can go start quiz, and we know that's the one we chose. There we go, and it's complete, 100%, the total time it took us to do that, and then they'll complete the course and obviously complete all the module quizzes. You'll have to rearrange everything to maybe module 1, then module 1 quiz, module 2 quiz, depending on what you'd like. Again, this is your decision. Now, adding users to the website. So when someone wants to register for the course, you can go up to people and then add user, and you can make the user, give them a username. So Joe signed up, paid on your website for this, then you can go over here and joe@gmail.com, give Joe a password, and I don't know, and then Joe's an active, and Joe's a student, and then you can click notify a student, and then the notification will be sent to his email address once we do that, and you'll be able to log in. So then we've created Joe, and he's now been created in the system. You see Joe is there, and then we can go into the courses that we had before, and we can add Joe to the course. Go up to people, and we can go add members, and we can just add Joe to this class so Joe can take it, and Joe's going to be a student, and we can click add users, and there you go. Joe's now, that's one of his courses that he can take. And when Joe logs in, he'll be able to go to My Courses and be able to take he'll be able to also see my achievements, my results, and then he'll also be able to see what classes he's a part of. So that's the basis for creating courses. There's a lot more to learn around certificates, around group notifications, like sending notifications to people of certain classes, forums, but I think the first place to start is creating the classes, the courses, the lessons, the slideshows, and then layer in the other administrative options because there's a lot to handle here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Send us questions if you have.